In a world where the pursuit of success and self-realization has become an almost universal religion, a paradox lies hidden. We seek keys to abundance, to mastery, to a profound understanding of ourselves and the world around us, yet often overlook that the most potent instruments have always resided within the confines of our own consciousness. This knowledge, ancient as humanity itself, was rediscovered and systematized at the dawn of the 20th century, yet its fate proved as extraordinary as its content. We speak of the monumental work of Charles Francis Haanel, known as the Master Key System, a book that not merely offered methods of self-development, but promised to unveil the fundamental laws of the universe. Its influence was colossal, touching the minds of such titans of thought as Napoleon Hill, inspiring Earl Nightingale, and decades later becoming a foundational text for Oprah Winfrey. However, in 1933, something remarkable occurred. Print runs of this book, so highly valued by those who plumbed its depths, were withdrawn from circulation. This was not an act of censorship in the customary sense, but rather a testament to the fact that certain ideas, being too potent or too candid, can evoke disquiet within established systems. What then was contained within these pages that could provoke such an unusual reaction? And why does this knowledge remain pertinent even today? To answer this query, we must turn to the origins, to the man who dared to systematize this forbidden knowledge. Charles Francis Haanel came into being in 1866 in vibrant St. Louis, Missouri, during an era when America was experiencing a fervent blossoming of industrialization and entrepreneurship. His childhood and youth transpired in an atmosphere imbued with the spirit of opportunity, where each individual could become the architect of their own destiny. Young Haanel was no exception. He did not receive a traditional university education, but possessed a keen intellect, an unyielding will, and an intuitive grasp of the principles propelling the world of business. These qualities permitted him to ascend the career ladder swiftly, transforming from a mere clerk into one of the most successful entrepreneurs of his era. His business empire, the Continental Commercial Company, became a formidable conglomerate, encompassing diverse sectors from mining to real estate. Haanel was not merely a businessman. He was a visionary, capable of perceiving not only current trends but also future possibilities. He apprehended that true success did not depend solely upon external circumstances or fortune, but was rooted in deeper, unseen principles. It was this apprehension, forged in the crucible of practical experience and fortified by a profound study of philosophical and esoteric traditions, that led him to the creation of the Master Key System. In 1912, Haanel first presented his work to the world not as a book in the traditional sense, but as a 24-week correspondence course. This form of instruction permitted students to gradually master complex concepts and apply them in practice, step by step transforming their consciousness and consequently their reality. Among his clientele were not merely ordinary individuals seeking a better life, but also prominent industrialists, financiers, and inventors, those who had already achieved significant successes yet aspired to greater accomplishments. They intuitively sensed that beyond the material world lay hidden forces that could be harnessed to achieve their objectives. Haanel, unlike many theoreticians, offered not merely abstract ideas but concrete methods proven in practice. His system was predicated upon the conviction that thought is the sole reality, and all external manifestations are but its projections. He taught that each of us possesses an innate capacity to govern our thought and thus to shape our destiny. This was a bold assertion, challenging the established scientific and philosophical paradigms of the era, yet it resonated in the hearts of those prepared to transcend ordinary perception. Today, we shall turn our attention to one of the most fundamental and perhaps most intricate lessons of the Master Key System. The seventh lesson, dedicated to the precision of visualization. Haanel asserted, "First, one must believe that our desire has already been fulfilled. Then its actualization will follow." This seemingly simple phrase contains within it the profoundest wisdom and the key to comprehending how the process of reality creation operates. He instructs us that faith is not merely passive expectation, but an active, creative state of consciousness that precedes physical manifestation. But how is this faith to be attained? How does one convince the mind that the desired object already exists when there is no physical evidence in the material world? The answer resides in the art of precise visualization. Haanel proposes an exercise that at first glance might appear excessively detailed, yet it is precisely within this detail that its potency lies. He bids us to forge a distinct mental image of a battleship within the mind. But this is not merely any vessel. It is a specific warship which you must envision with all its minute particulars, from the massive keel concealed beneath the water to the majestic hull covered with armor plating. You must perceive its gun turrets, each of which can be mentally rotated, and sense their colossal weight and might. Envision the superstructure, the masts, the intricate antennae, apprehending unseen signals from the ether. And further still, Haanel urges us to behold the crew upon the deck, to discern their faces, to feel their presence. Every rivet, every bolt, every detail must be so clear and distinct, as if you stood before this vessel in reality. Why a battleship specifically? Why such meticulousness? Because this exercise trains not merely the imagination but thought itself. It instructs our mind to be precise, purposeful, and disciplined. In our objective consciousness, thoughts are often vague, indeterminate, lacking clear contours. We desire to be happy, to be wealthy, to be successful, yet rarely define what precisely these concepts signify in specific detail. And if our thought is imprecise, then the outcome it engenders will be equally indeterminate. Haanel comprehended that the mind is a potent instrument, but like any instrument, it demands sharpening. If you aspire to construct a dwelling, you require not merely some plan, but a precise blueprint with dimensions, materials, and the placement of each room. Likewise, if you wish to create something in your life, you require a precise mental map. This concept, though articulated by Haanel at the dawn of the 20th century, possesses deep roots in both ancient philosophical traditions and contemporary scientific discoveries. Contemporary science, particularly neurobiology, is beginning to corroborate what Haanel and other thinkers intuitively apprehended for centuries. In 2004, neuroscientists Angelo Maravita and Atsushi Iriki from the Japanese Research Institute RIKEN in Tokyo conducted pioneering experiments that illuminated the mechanism of mental rehearsal. They demonstrated that the mental rehearsal of movement with an instrument activates the same multimodal neurons in the brain as the actual physical use of that instrument. This signifies that for our brain, the distinction between a real action and a vivid, detailed mental representation of that action is not as pronounced as we are accustomed to believing. The brain, in essence, trains even when the body remains quiescent. This discovery holds colossal significance for apprehending the power of visualization. If you mentally construct a battleship, meticulously developing each of its details, your brain activates the same neural networks that would be engaged were you actually designing or building that vessel. You are not merely dreaming, you are actively shaping your neural architecture, forging new pathways and fortifying existing ones, which will then facilitate the manifestation of your desire in physical reality. This concept closely resonates with the principles of neuroplasticity, as elucidated by Norman Doidge in his book The Brain That Changes Itself in 2007. Our brain is not a static structure. It perpetually alters and adapts in response to our experiences, thoughts, and intentions. Precise visualization is a potent means of consciously directing this neuroplasticity. World-class athletes have long employed this technique to attain incredible results. Barbara Llull, a sports psychologist for the United States Olympic Committee (USOC), asserts that Olympic athletes dedicate up to 75% of their training time to visualization. They do not merely imagine themselves victorious. They mentally experience every facet of their performance, sensing muscle tension, hearing the roar of the crowd, feeling the resistance of water or air. Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian in history with 23 gold medals, mentally swam the race twice before each start. He envisioned not only his ideal swim, but also potential difficulties. For instance, should his goggles fill with water, how he would proceed. This allowed him to be prepared for any contingency and to execute his actions with utmost precision and confidence when the actual moment arrived. His brain already knew what to do because he had already done it hundreds of times within his imagination. This is not merely a mental exercise, it is profound work at the subconscious level. The subconscious mind, as Haanel taught, is the executive mechanism of our consciousness. It does not analyze, nor does it criticize, but simply accepts and actualizes the instructions it receives from the objective mind. If these instructions are vague and indeterminate, the subconscious mind will be unable to execute them effectively. But if you envision a battleship with every rivet, every antenna, every crew member, you furnish the subconscious mind with an exceptionally clear and detailed program for execution. The concept that thought is capable of shaping reality is not novel. It permeates numerous ancient traditions and teachings. The medieval art of memory, developed by thinkers such as Raimon Llull, constituted an intricate system for constructing mental palaces with thousands of chambers. Within each chamber resided specific images symbolizing knowledge, ideas, or concepts. An individual practicing this art could mentally perambulate through their palace, instantaneously retrieving requisite information. This was not merely a mnemonic technique, but a method of training the mind to create complex, multidimensional mental constructs, which serves as a direct analog to Haanel's battleship exercise. In Eastern traditions, we discover parallels in meditations upon intricate yantras and mandalas. Sri Chinmoy, a renowned spiritual teacher, practiced and instructed meditation upon these geometric diagrams, necessitating extraordinary concentration and the capacity to retain minute details within the mind. The objective of such practices is not solely the attainment of spiritual enlightenment, but also the cultivation of mental acuity, the ability for sustained and precise concentration, which ultimately permits the governance of thought energy. Even the great Leonardo da Vinci, whose blueprints and inventions preceded his era by centuries, employed this principle. In his celebrated notebooks, such as the Codex Atlanticus, dating from 1478 to 1518, evidence can be found that every blueprint, every machine, every architectural form first emerged in complete perfection within his mind. He did not commence with sketches, endeavoring to discover the form. He perceived it whole, down to the minutest details, before transferring it to paper. His genius lay not merely in his capacity for draftsmanship, but in his aptitude for incredibly precise and comprehensive mental visualization. The practice of Haanel's seventh lesson is not merely an exercise for cultivating imagination. It is a profound training of the mind, aimed at developing precision of thought, which is the cornerstone for any purposeful creation. Select a complex object. This could be a vessel, as in Haanel's example, or a majestic edifice, or an intricate machine, or even a mighty tree with its roots, trunk, branches, and leaves. Begin to visualize it in its entirety, from its foundation to its apex, striving to encompass every detail. Should any detail appear indistinct, should its contours be unclear, do not hasten. Slowly, with focused intent, clarify it within your mind until it becomes as distinct as if you perceived it in reality. This process demands patience and persistence. Our mind is accustomed to distraction, to shifting from one thought to another. But, like any muscle, the mind can be trained. When you compel yourself to hold a complex, detailed image in focus, you fortify your capacity for concentration, for clarity of thought. You instruct your mind to be precise, rather than vague. And when your mind learns to be precise in visualizing a battleship or an intricate edifice, it will be able to apply that same precision to your desires, to your objectives, to your aspirations. This is a fundamental stride toward believing that our desire has already been fulfilled. For in your mind it will already exist in its minutest details. This precision of thought possesses profound implications. It not only permits you to articulate your desires with greater clarity, but also, as research in epigenetics conducted by scientists such as Bruce Lipton demonstrates, your thoughts and beliefs can literally alter your biology, influencing gene expression. Your internal state, shaped by precise mental images, begins to influence your external reality at a fundamental level. Thus, Haanel's seventh lesson is not merely a discourse on how to dream. It is a lesson on how to think with surgical precision, how to train your mind to become not merely a passive observer but an active architect of your reality. This ancient knowledge, cloaked in a contemporary form, continues to illuminate the path to mastery over oneself and the world. affirming that the true keys to success have always resided within us. This precision of thought, of which Haanel spoke, possesses profound implications, extending far beyond the confines of a mere mental exercise. It not only permits you to articulate your desires with greater clarity, but also, as research in contemporary science demonstrates, your thoughts and beliefs can literally alter your biology, influence gene expression, and even shape the physical structure of your brain. Envision your thoughts as not merely ephemeral flashes within consciousness, but potent signals capable of rewriting the very code of your inner universe. It is precisely to this conclusion that scientists studying the phenomenon of epigenetics are arriving. Dr. Bruce Lipton, a cellular biologist and author of the seminal work The Biology of Belief, shifted the paradigm of life's understanding by demonstrating that genes are not self-sufficient controllers of our destiny. On the contrary, they are activated or deactivated under the influence of the environment, and a pivotal aspect of this environment comprises our own thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. Lipton asserts that human consciousness, its internal state, fashioned by precise mental images, begins to influence its external reality at a fundamental biological level. One of the most striking corroborations of this idea emerged from an experiment conducted in 2014 by scientists Carrie Dias and Brian Ressler at Emory University. They conditioned laboratory mice to fear the scent of cherry blossoms, associating it with a mild electrical shock. After several repetitions, the mice would begin to tremble with fear at the mere scent, even without the shock. The most astonishing revelation occurred when the scientists examined the offspring of these mice. Their progeny, who had never been subjected to the shock nor encountered the cherry blossom scent, exhibited the same instinctive fear response to this odor. And even the grandchildren of these mice evinced analogous behavior. The research indicated that the traumatic experience altered gene expression in the sperm of the males, transmitting this fear across 2 generations. This experiment served as potent evidence that acquired reactions and even emotional states can be inherited, signifying that our experiences, our perception of the world, and ultimately our thoughts can leave an imprint upon our genetic code and be passed down. If fear can be transmitted in such a manner, what then can be said of the power of purposeful, positive, and precise thought? Yet the influence of thought is not confined solely to the genetic level. It is capable of restructuring the very architecture of our brain, a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity. For an extended period, the adult human brain was deemed a fixed structure, yet groundbreaking research of recent decades has entirely refuted this dogma. Professor Norman Doidge, in his book The Brain That Changes Itself, published in 2007, meticulously details how the brain is capable of reorganizing itself, forming new neural connections and altering its physical structure in response to experience, learning, and most crucially, to purposeful mental activity. One classic illustration of neuroplasticity is the research conducted by Dr. Eleanor Maguire and her team in 2000. They investigated the brains of London taxi drivers. To become a taxi driver in London, one must undergo an arduous 4-year training course known as the Knowledge, during which prospective drivers must commit to memory 25,000 streets and thousands of landmarks within a 10-kilometer radius of Charing Cross. Maguire discovered that in taxi drivers who had successfully completed this course, the posterior hippocampus, a region of the brain responsible for spatial memory and navigation, was significantly larger than in a control group. Furthermore, the longer a taxi driver had worked, the larger their hippocampus became. This is irrefutable evidence that intense, purposeful mental exertion, such as memorizing an intricate city map, literally alters the physical structure of the brain. If training routes can physically modify the brain, envision what continuous, precise visualization of your objectives, as Haanel proposes, can accomplish. Your brain literally reorganizes itself to better conform to the reality you are creating within your mind. Let us proceed further into the realm of psychoneuroimmunology, where mind and body converge at the molecular level. Dr. Candace Pert, a distinguished neuropharmacologist and author of the book Molecules of Emotion, published in 1997, unveiled that emotions are not merely subjective sensations but biochemical signals that influence every cell of our being. She demonstrated that neuropeptides, Molecules transmitting information between nerve cells are also molecules of emotion, which bind to receptors on the surface of immune cells, endocrine cells, and other cells throughout the body. Thus, our thoughts and feelings directly impact our immune system, hormonal balance, and overall physical condition. Research conducted by Drs. Janice Glaser and Ronald Keikolt Glaser from Ohio University has repeatedly demonstrated this nexus. In one of their celebrated experiments, they investigated medical students during examination periods, a time of intense stress. They ascertained that during this time, students exhibited a significant reduction in the activity of natural killer cells, immune system cells responsible for annihilating cancerous and infected cells. This constitutes direct evidence that psychological stress, engendered by negative thoughts and apprehensions, can suppress immunity. Conversely, positive thoughts, purposeful visualization, and a state of tranquility can augment the body's defensive functions. If negative thoughts can debilitate the body, then by logical extension, precise, positive, and potent mental images such as the detailed visualization of a battleship can fortify it. Perhaps the most compelling evidence for the power of thought resides in the placebo effect. Dr. Henry K. Beecher, an anesthesiologist from Harvard Medical School, in his seminal review published in 1955, analyzed 15 clinical studies and concluded that, on average, 30 to 60% of patients experienced significant symptom relief or even healing when administered a placebo, an inert substance devoid of pharmacological activity. This effect is entirely attributable to the patient's belief in the efficacy of the treatment and their expectation of recovery. In certain instances, a placebo can be as efficacious as an active medication and at times even surpass it. For example, in studies concerning pain, depression, or irritable bowel syndrome, placebos frequently evince astonishing results. The placebo phenomenon is not merely self-deception, it is a profound manifestation of the mind's capacity to influence physiology. When an individual genuinely believes they are receiving effective treatment, their brain initiates a cascade of biochemical reactions, releasing endorphins, dopamine, and other neurotransmitters that can alleviate pain, reduce inflammation, and promote healing. This is direct corroboration of Haanel's principle. First, one must believe that our desire has already been fulfilled. Then its actualization will follow. Your faith, your precise mental disposition, activates internal mechanisms that commence the transformation of your internal state and subsequently your external reality. Thus, contemporary science, from epigenetics and neuroplasticity to psychoneuroimmunology and the placebo effect, merely corroborates and elaborates upon what was intuitively understood by great thinkers throughout millennia. Thoughts are not merely thoughts. They are potent, tangible forces capable of reordering our biology, shaping our brain, and influencing our reality. The precision in visualization, of which Haanel speaks, is not merely mental gymnastics, but a fundamental instrument for activating these profound internal mechanisms. And this knowledge is not novel, it is merely cloaked in new scientific terminology, yet its essence remains unaltered since the most ancient times. Throughout millennia, sages and philosophers of diverse cultures arrived at similar conclusions regarding the omnipotence of thought and the role of consciousness in shaping reality. These ancient parallels serve as potent corroboration of the universality of the principles expounded by Charles Haanel. Let us turn to the Hermetic tradition, whose roots extend into profound antiquity, presumably to the figure of Hermes Trismegistus, a mythical sage revered as an embodiment of divine intelligence. In the foundational text of Hermeticism, the Poimandres, it is asserted that the universe is created by thought. The divine mind, or Poimandres, is the fount of all being, and its thought manifests in matter. The pivotal principle of Hermeticism, as above so below, signifies that the laws governing the macrocosm are reflected in the microcosm, that is, in humanity. If the divine mind creates worlds through thought, then the human mind, being its reflection, possesses an analogous creative power. Precise visualization in this context becomes an act of co-creation, an emulation of the divine act of creation. Shakyamuni Buddha, who lived approximately 2.5 millennia ago, likewise emphasized the central role of thought in his teachings. In the Dhammapada, one of the most celebrated texts of the Pali Canon, the very first stanza proclaims, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought." It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. If a man speaks or acts with an evil thought, pain follows him, as the wheel follows the foot of the ox that draws the carriage. If a man speaks or acts with a pure thought, happiness follows him, like a shadow that never leaves him. This is a direct and unequivocal assertion that our thoughts are the architects of our reality, the fount of both suffering and felicity. The precision of thought, of which Haanel speaks in the Buddhist context, constitutes a path to liberation from suffering and the attainment of enlightenment. Within Indian philosophy, we encounter the Yoga Vasista, an ancient text, perhaps dating to the 6th or 7th centuries CE, which presents a dialogue between the sage Vasista and Prince Rama. This text stands as one of the most profound explorations into the nature of consciousness and reality. The Yoga Vasista posits that the entire world is merely a manifestation of the mind, an illusion Maya created by our own consciousness. The world subsists only because the mind perceives and creates it. Should the mind cease its creation, the world vanishes. This teaching directly resonates with the principles of visualization. If our mind is capable of creating all perceived reality, then it is assuredly capable of creating a specific, detailed image of a battleship or any other desired objective, which may then manifest in the physical world. Kabbalah, the mystical tradition of esoteric Judaism, likewise offers a profound comprehension of the creative power of thought. At the core of Kabbalistic cosmology lies the concept of Ein Sof, the infinite, unknowable God, who to manifest himself emanates through the 10 Sephirot, or divine attributes. The process of creation in Kabbalah commences with thought, with divine intention, which gradually descends and materializes. Humanity, created in the image and likeness of God, also possesses this capacity for creation through thought. Kabbalistic practices encompass meditation upon the Sephirot and the utilization of visualization to connect with divine energies, which constitutes a form of precise mental construction for attaining spiritual and material objectives. The ancient Greek Stoics, such as Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, though not directly speaking of visualization as a means of materialization, underscored absolute control over one's inner world, one's thoughts, judgments, and perceptions. Epictetus taught, "It is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance." He exhorted rigorous discipline of thought to discern what lies within our power, our thoughts and reactions, and what does not, external events. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, perpetually returned to the tenet that inner tranquility and wisdom are attained through mastery over one's own mind. For the Stoics, precise and disciplined thought was the key to a virtuous life and inner peace, to the creation of a kind of ideal internal battleship, an unshakable soul. Finally, in Zen Buddhism, which arrived in China from India with Bodhidharma in the 5th century CE, the concept of mind only, consciousness only, and the direct apprehension of the true nature of reality through meditation hold central prominence. Zen instructs that all external phenomena are projections of the mind, and that enlightenment is attained when the mind becomes clear, concentrated, and liberated from illusions. Zen practices such as Zazen, seated meditation, are directed toward training the mind to become precise, focused, and capable of perceiving reality as it truly is, without distortions. This deeply resonates with Haanel's lesson on the precision of visualization, for to a Zen master, as to Haanel, mastery over the mind is the key to mastery over the world. Thus, from Hermetic texts to Buddhist sutras, from Kabbalistic teachings to Stoic reflections, ancient sages unanimously indicated that thought is the fundamental force shaping our reality. Haanel's 7th lesson on the precision of visualization is not merely a contemporary technique, but a reinterpretation and systematization of ancient knowledge, now accessible to all who are prepared to master their mind. These principles, so deeply rooted in both ancient wisdom and contemporary scientific discoveries, were not merely theoretical concepts for those who espoused them. They became the cornerstone in the lives and achievements of many eminent individuals, whose narratives serve as vivid corroboration of the efficacy of precise thought and visualization. These individuals did not merely believe in the power of the mind, they lived by it, transforming abstract ideas into tangible results. One such pioneer was Earl Nightingale, a man whose story commences with penury and despair during the years of the Great Depression. He was born in 1921 and raised amidst conditions of extreme destitution. Nightingale was consumed by the quest for an answer to the question, why do some individuals succeed while others do not? He perused everything he could find on psychology, philosophy, and success. In the mid-50s, already a successful radio host and executive, he articulated his primary conclusion. In 1956, he recorded his renowned address titled The Strangest Secret. In this recording, Nightingale proclaimed that we become what we think about. He asserted that the human mind is akin to fertile soil. If you plant within it seeds of success, prosperity, and positive aims, it will yield precisely that. If, however, you permit it to be overrun by the weeds of fear, doubt, and negativity, it will produce commensurate fruits. His message was simple, yet revolutionary. To transform one's life, one must transform one's thoughts. Nightingale did not merely speak of this, he exhorted precise, focused thought upon the desired objective to its perpetual visualization. The Strangest Secret became the first audio course in history to sell over 1 million copies, exerting a colossal influence upon millions worldwide and laying the groundwork for an entire industry of personal growth. He was a direct inheritor of Haanel's ideas, translating them into a vernacular accessible to a broader audience. Another titan whose life embodied these principles was Napoleon Hill. His narrative commenced with a fateful encounter with one of the wealthiest men of his era, Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate and philanthropist. In 1908, when Hill was 25 years of age, he interviewed Carnegie for an article. During this meeting, Carnegie issued him a challenge to dedicate the subsequent 20 years of his life to studying America's most successful individuals, to discern the universal principles of their prosperity. Carnegie proffered Hill not monetary compensation, but merely access to his extensive network of contacts. Napoleon Hill accepted this formidable challenge and for 2 decades, from 1908 to 1928, interviewed over 500 of the most influential and affluent individuals of his time, including Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, and Theodore Roosevelt. The culmination of this monumental endeavor was the book Think and Grow Rich, published in 1937, which has since sold tens of millions of copies. Hill delineated 13 principles of success, among which definiteness of purpose, autosuggestion, and organized planning, all inextricably linked to precise thought and visualization. He taught that every great success commences with a clear, fervent desire and an unwavering faith in its actualization, fortified by detailed mental images. Hill, like Nightingale, openly acknowledged the influence of Charles Haanel upon his thinking and the formation of his concepts. Let us now transport ourselves to the contemporary era, to a figure who transformed the world of technology, Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple. Although Jobs did not author books on self-development, his approach to life and innovation was imbued with principles remarkably akin to Haanel's lessons. In his celebrated address to Stanford University graduates in 2005, Jobs recounted his experience studying calligraphy after he had discontinued his college education. He elucidated that at the time it appeared to him an utterly futile pursuit, devoid of any practical application. However, a decade later, when he was designing the first Macintosh, all this knowledge of typography, of the aesthetic appeal of fonts and spacing, suddenly connected and enabled him to create a computer with incredibly beautiful typefaces, a distinction possessed by no other personal computer of that epoch. Jobs spoke of connecting the dots backward, of the impossibility of foreseeing how points will connect in the future, only of retrospectively perceiving how they have converged. Yet his life exemplified how he, akin to Haanel, visualized the ultimate product with surgical precision. He was renowned for his obsession with detail, his pursuit of an ideal that he could perceive within his mind even before its embodiment. Jobs did not merely aspire to create a commendable product. He visualized a perfect product wherein every line, every pixel, every function was conceived down to the minutest detail. This precise, almost manic visualization of the ultimate outcome, even if the path thereto was indistinct, enabled him to lead his teams to forge revolutionary products that transformed the world. And, assuredly, one cannot overlook Oprah Winfrey, the media mogul, philanthropist, and one of the most influential women in the world. Oprah openly and repeatedly acknowledged that books akin to Charles Haanel's The Master Key System and Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich played a fundamental role in her life and triumphs. She recounted how in her youth, confronting penury, racism, and violence, she found solace and inspiration in these texts, which instructed her that her thoughts shaped her reality. Oprah perpetually emphasizes the significance of clear intention, gratitude, and visualization. She exhorts her audience to distinctly envision their objectives, to believe in their actualization, and to act in accordance with this faith. Her own narrative, from an exceedingly disadvantaged childhood to the establishment of a media empire encompassing a television channel, a magazine, and a production company, stands as living proof of the potency of these principles. She did not merely yearn for a better life. She, akin to Haanel, learned to visualize it with such precision and faith that it became her reality. She perceived herself as successful, influential, capable of assisting others, and this precise mental tableau guided her actions and decisions throughout her career. These narratives of Earl Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, Steve Jobs, and Oprah Winfrey are not merely tales of triumph. They are testaments to how the principles expounded by Charles Haanel in the 7th lesson were applied in practice and led to extraordinary outcomes. They demonstrate that the capacity for precise visualization, for profound faith in the actualization of the desired, is not a mystical abstraction but a potent practical instrument, accessible to all who are prepared to master their mind. These individuals, like many others, have proven that the true keys to success indeed reside within us, awaiting our learning to wield them with the surgical precision of thought. These individuals, like many others, have proven that the true keys to success indeed reside within us, awaiting our learning to wield them with the surgical precision of thought. And in this, their experience resonates with the millennia-old wisdom that permeates the annals of humanity, from ancient mystics to contemporary neuroscientists. The principle of precise visualization, articulated by Haanel, is not a novel invention, but rather a rediscovery of a universal law that manifests in myriad forms and cultures. Within the depths of Carl Gustav Jung's analytical psychology, we discover the concept of individuation, the process of becoming a holistic personality, the integration of the conscious and the unconscious. Jung spoke of the collective unconscious and archetypes, universal patterns that shape our experience. True individuation, according to Jung, necessitates profound self-knowledge and the capacity to form clear internal images of one's self, one's unique trajectory. This is not merely a desire, it is a precise internal vision of who you are destined to be, which bears a strong resemblance to Haanel's visualization, yet applied to the very essence of personality. Abraham Maslow, one of the progenitors of humanistic psychology, in his studies of self-actualization, described peak experiences, moments of profoundest happiness, ecstasy, and unity, when an individual feels entirely alive and fulfilled. These experiences frequently arise when an individual is wholly absorbed in an activity that aligns with their highest values and objectives. To attain such clarity and immersion, one must possess an exceptionally clear conception of their objectives and how to achieve them. Maslow, in essence, described a state that becomes possible through the internal precision and focus of which Haanel speaks. Contemporary cognitive science, represented by the works of Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman, presents us with a model of two systems of thought. System 1, rapid, intuitive, emotional, and System 2, deliberate, analytical, logical. Precise visualization, of which Haanel speaks, is a salient example of System 2 in operation. It is not a spontaneous image, but a purposeful, conscious construction demanding mental exertion and discipline. We consciously engage our higher cognitive functions to forge a detailed, stable mental construct, surmounting System 1's propensity for simplification and stereotypes. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, author of The Concept of Flow, delineates a state of complete immersion in an activity wherein an individual feels most efficacious and content. This state is characterized by a clear objective, immediate feedback, and a balance between challenge and skill. To enter into flow, an individual must possess an exceedingly clear conception of what they endeavor to achieve and how their actions propel them toward that objective. Precise visualization is the preliminary work that establishes an internal blueprint for such a state of flow, enabling the mind to function with maximum efficacy. Neurobiology of recent decades corroborates these concepts at a physiological level. Norman Doidge's works on brain neuroplasticity, expounded in his book The Brain That Changes Itself, illustrate that our brain perpetually reorganizes itself in response to our thoughts and experiences. Precise, repetitive visualization literally forges new neural connections, fortifying the pathways to desired outcomes. Mental rehearsal, as research has demonstrated, activates the same brain regions as actual physical action, preparing the nervous system for task execution. Bruce Lipton, a pioneer of epigenetics, demonstrates how our beliefs and thoughts can influence gene expression, that is, which genes are activated or deactivated. This signifies that our internal mental state can exert a profound influence not only upon our behavior but also upon our physical health and potential. Precise visualization, fortified by faith, becomes a potent instrument for harmonizing the internal world with external manifestations. Even within the domain of quantum physics, albeit with a greater degree of metaphor, parallels can be discerned. Alain Aspect's experiments in 1982, which confirmed quantum entanglement, reveal that particles separated by vast distances can instantaneously influence one another. While this does not constitute direct evidence of thought's capacity to influence matter, it hints at a profound interconnectedness and non-locality of the universe, wherein our consciousness is not merely a passive observer, but an active participant in the co-creation of reality. The application of the principle of precise visualization is distinctly evident within the realm of elite sports. Michael Jordan, acknowledged as the greatest basketball player of all time, was renowned not only for his physical prowess but also for his extraordinary mental fortitude. He trained for hours, yet also mentally rehearsed games for hours, envisioning every shot, every pass, every maneuver in its minutest detail. He perceived the ball passing through the hoop even before he released it. This was not merely hope, but a precise mental rehearsal that rendered his actions on the court almost instinctive. Kobe Bryant, another legend of basketball, referred to his approach as the Mamba mentality, a philosophy of obsession with perfection that encompassed profound mental preparation. Kobe scrutinized his opponents in their minutest details, anticipated their movements, and mentally replayed game scenarios repeatedly until every facet became crystal clear within his mind. His capacity to visualize success and anticipate challenges was as paramount as his physical conditioning. Within the realm of business, this principle underlies the most grandiose successes. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, is renowned for his Day One mantra, a perpetual endeavor to think like a startup, continually visualizing the future needs of customers and the means to satisfy them. His capacity to perceive Amazon not merely as a bookstore but as a global infrastructure for all that could be sold was the outcome of a precise long-term vision that he then methodically brought to fruition. He did not merely dream grandly, he constructed a detailed mental blueprint of how this grand vision would appear and operate. Elon Musk, a visionary and founder of Tesla and SpaceX, stands as perhaps the most striking contemporary exemplar of applying the principle of precise visualization on scales that appear impossible. The colonization of Mars, a global satellite internet network, electric vehicles that surpass gasoline counterparts, all these commenced with incredibly audacious yet exceedingly concrete mental images. Musk is capable of retaining within his mind the most intricate engineering and business models, envisioning them with such detail that it enables him to inspire engineers and investors to actualize these seemingly fantastical objectives. He literally perceives the future and then constructs it. Warren Buffett, one of the most prodigious investors of all time, likewise employs a form of precise mental engagement. His investment philosophy is predicated upon a profound comprehension of business rather than speculation. He mentally dissects companies down to their minutest particulars, assessing their intrinsic value, their competitive advantages, their growth potential. He visualizes long-term success founded upon fundamental principles rather than fleeting market fluctuations. His circle of competence is a domain he can visualize with utmost precision and clarity. Thus, the principles of Haanel's seventh lesson, concerning the precision of visualization and the faith in that which has already transpired, permeate not only teachings on self-development, but also fundamental discoveries in psychology, neurobiology, and the success stories of the greatest athletes and entrepreneurs. This is not a mystical abstraction, but a scientifically corroborated and practically applicable instrument for shaping desired reality. However, like any potent instrument, the principle of precise visualization can be misapprehended or misapplied, leading to undesirable consequences. It is crucial to comprehend that Haanel's The Master Key System is not an exhortation to naive positivism or magical thinking, where it suffices merely to wish and all will come to pass. One of the most prevalent misconceptions is the so-called naive positivism, which reduces to the notion that it suffices merely to think positively and all tribulations will vanish. This simplification disregards Haanel's fundamental prerequisite of precision and action. Mere positive thoughts, devoid of concrete form and reinforced by inaction, are akin to diffuse light, incapable of illuminating anything. They do not forge focused intention, do not activate System 2 thinking, and consequently do not lead to tangible alterations. Another peril is magical thinking, wherein an individual begins to attribute their outcomes solely to unseen forces or fortuity, neglecting causality and personal responsibility. Haanel conversely underscores that the universe is governed by laws and our thoughts constitute a part of these laws. His system is not magic, but a systematic application of mental principles for attaining specific, measurable results. The abandonment of rational analysis and planning, relying solely upon belief in miracles, inevitably leads to disillusionment. There also exists the hazard of reality denial. Certain interpretations of visualization principles can induce an individual to disregard objective difficulties, challenges, or even their own emotional state. A sound practice of visualization does not signify an evasion of reality. It denotes a conscious shaping of a desired future, whilst acknowledging and working with current circumstances. If you visualize affluence, yet deny the necessity of laboring, learning, and making judicious financial decisions, this will not culminate in success. Precise visualization is not an escape from reality, but a means of actively shaping it. Finally, there exists the peril of toxic spirituality or toxic positivity, wherein an individual is indoctrinated with the notion that they must perpetually be happy and positive, suppressing any negative emotions. This can culminate in emotional exhaustion, a sense of culpability for incorrect thoughts, and an inability to adequately respond to life's exigencies. Haanel does not advocate for the suppression of emotions, but for their mastery. He instructs how to direct mental energy rather than to disregard it. Authentic precision of thought encompasses an awareness of the full spectrum of human experience and the acumen to utilize it for one's growth. Thus, to circumvent these pitfalls, it is imperative to recall, the Master Key System is not a passive yearning but an active, disciplined mental engagement, demanding utmost precision, clarity, and, most crucially, subsequent actions commensurate with your internal vision. This is not self-deception but the construction of an internal reality that will subsequently manifest in the external world. Now that we have profoundly explored the tenets of the seventh lesson and apprehended its potential and its pitfalls, the time has arrived to transition to practical application. The ensuing 7 techniques, developed upon Haanel's teachings and corroborated by contemporary science, shall assist you in cultivating surgical precision of thought and commencing the shaping of your reality. These practices are intended for daily execution for a minimum of 30 days, to solidify new neural pathways and transmute your mental habits. Practice 1. The silence and meditation for clarity of mind. Method. Seek a tranquil locale where you shall not be disturbed. Assume a comfortable posture, with a straight spine. Close your eyes. Focus upon your breath, sensing the ingress and egress of air from your physical form. When your mind commences to wander, as it assuredly shall, gently redirect your attention to your breath. Refrain from self-judgment concerning distractions. Merely observe thoughts as clouds traversing the firmament and return your focus to your anchor, your breath. The objective is not to halt thought, but to cultivate the capacity for concentration and mindfulness. Duration per diem. Commence with 10 minutes per day. Gradually extend to 15 to 20 minutes. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Anticipated onset of effect. Initial sensations of tranquility and a reduction in mental clamor may manifest as early as the 3rd to 5th day. A more profound enhancement of concentration, emotional equipoise, and clarity of thought shall become discernible within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent practice. Asterisk, asterisk, practice 2. Precise visualization of the desired object. Asterisk, 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 method. Asterisk, asterisk, select one specific intricate object that you wish to visualize. This may be the very battleship described by Haanel, or for instance your dream domicile, a complex mechanism, a work of art, or even a detailed blueprint of your prospective endeavor. Seat yourself in silence, close your eyes. Commence constructing this image within your mind from its foundation to its minutest details. Should you be visualizing a dwelling, begin with the foundation, then the walls, windows, roof, the hue of the paint, the texture of the materials, the furnishings within, the luminescence pervading the chambers. If any detail appears indistinct, pause upon it and clarify it until it becomes as vivid as if you perceived it in reality. Engage all 5 senses: how it appears, how it scents, what sounds it emits, its tactile quality, perhaps even its savor if applicable. Asterisk, 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 duration per diem, 15 to 20 minutes. This necessitates exertion, but it is precisely how precision is cultivated. Asterisk, 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 anticipated onset of effect. An enhancement in the capacity for detailed visualization and an intensification of mental focus shall become apparent by the 5th to 7th day. A genuine sensation of the reality of your mental image and its influence upon your motivation shall commence within 2 to 4 weeks. Asterisk, asterisk, practice 3. Affirmation as an assertion of the accomplished. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Method, asterisk, asterisk. Formulate 1 or 2 concise positive affirmations that reflect your visualized desire yet are couched in the present tense as if already realized. For instance, I possess clear vision and actualize my objectives with absolute precision, or my project is successfully consummated, yielding specific result. Recite these affirmations aloud or silently, not as a supplication but as a declaration of fact. Experience the emotions that accompany this assertion. Repeat them with conviction, cognizant that your mind accepts these declarations as truth. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Duration per diem, 5 to 10 minutes, reiterating several times throughout the day, in the morn, at midday, prior to slumber. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Anticipated onset of effect. A shift in internal dialogue, a diminution of self-criticism, and an augmentation of self-assurance shall become perceptible by the 3rd to 7th day. A sustained alteration in beliefs and conduct shall manifest within 2 to 3 weeks. Asterisk, asterisk, practice 4. Journaling for clarity and detail. Asterisk, 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 method. Asterisk, asterisk, daily, in the morn or evening. Dedicate time to maintaining a journal. Delineate your objectives with utmost detail, as if you were creating a blueprint. Record all that you have visualized, including the minutest particulars clarified in practice 2. Chronicle your thoughts, sentiments, and insights that arise concerning your objective. Should you encounter internal doubts or external impediments, record them and subsequently transcribe potential solutions or actions you might undertake. This process aids in transmuting subconscious thoughts into objective form and fortifying your mental precision. Asterisk, 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 duration per diem, 10 to 15 minutes. Asterisk, 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 anticipated onset of effect. An enhancement in self-awareness, elucidation of objectives, and the revelation of latent beliefs shall become perceptible by the 4th to 6th day. A profound comprehension of oneself and one's desires, alongside novel insights for their actualization, shall commence manifesting within 2 to 4 weeks. Asterisk, asterisk, practice 5. Gratitude for that which is and that which is to come. Method. In the morn, immediately upon awakening, or in the evening, prior to slumber, compile a list of 5 to 10 aspects for which you are genuinely grateful in your life at this present moment. These may be simple endowments, a cup of coffee, the radiance of the sun, the well-being of loved ones. Subsequently, append to this list gratitude for your visualized desire having asterisks already been fulfilled. Experience this gratitude as though it has already transpired. Sense the joy, the solace, and the contentment arising from the attainment of your objective. This act of gratitude fortifies faith and draws to you that which you desire. Duration per diem 5 to 10 minutes. Anticipated onset of effect. An elevation of mood, a shift in life's perspective, and a reduction in stress levels shall become perceptible as early as the 2nd to 3rd day. A sustained positive emotional state and a sense of abundance shall manifest within 1 to 2 weeks. Practice 6. Mental rehearsal of actions. Method. Once you have clearly visualized your ultimate objective, commence mentally rehearsing the specific steps you must undertake for its attainment. Should your objective be a successful presentation, mentally traverse each stage: your entrance onto the dais, your initial utterances, your intonation, the audience's reception, your responses to inquiries. If it is an intricate project, visualize each convocation, each phase of labor, each interaction with colleagues. Envision yourself surmounting potential impediments and successfully completing each step. These are not mere reveries, they constitute active mental planning and training. Duration per diem 10 to 15 minutes. Anticipated onset of effect. An augmentation of confidence in your actions, an enhancement in planning, and a diminution of apprehension before actual tasks shall become discernible by the 5th to 7th day. An improvement in performance and more efficacious task execution shall manifest within 2 to 3 weeks. Practice 7. Redirecting focus from distractions. Method. Throughout the day, when you perceive your mind diverting to negative thoughts, doubts, fears, or unproductive ruminations, consciously redirect your focus. You may employ an anchor, a deep inhalation followed by a deliberate shift of your attention to your visualized objective, to one of your affirmations, or to something for which you are grateful. This exercise cultivates your capacity to govern your thoughts and direct them toward the desired rather than permitting them to wander aimlessly. Duration per diem. Several seconds repeatedly throughout the day each time you apprehend a diversion. Anticipated onset of effect. An enhancement in emotional control, a diminution of mental clamor, and an elevation of overall mindfulness shall become perceptible by the 3rd to 5th day. An increase in overall productivity and a reduction in procrastination shall manifest within 2 to 3 weeks. By employing these 7 practices daily, you are not merely executing exercises, you are re-architecting your mind, training it to be a precise, focused, and potent instrument. You are learning not merely to desire, but to create your reality at the mental level prior to its manifestation in the physical world. Thus we conclude our profound analysis of Charles Haanel's 7th lesson. If its essence were to be distilled into one encompassing phrase, it would resonate thus. Precision of thought is not merely an instrument. It is the fundamental key to the co-creation of your reality. You have ascertained that the capacity to forge clear, detailed mental images, fortified by unwavering faith in their actualization, is not a mystical abstraction but a universal law that manifests in the triumphs of humanity's greatest minds, is corroborated by contemporary science, and can be mastered by all. You have apprehended that this power demands discipline and precision, lest one succumb to the pitfalls of naive positivism or reality denial. And most significantly, you have been furnished with concrete, efficacious practices that shall enable you to commence applying these principles forthwith, training your mind akin to an athlete honing their mastery. Yet the mastery of this precision is merely the initial stride upon the path to the full actualization of your potential. Precisely as an architect crafts a detailed blueprint and must then select the appropriate materials and construction methodologies, so too must you, having learned to visualize with precision, comprehend how to sustain this internal vision, how to shield it from external doubts, and how to employ your intuition as an unseen guide. In the ensuing lesson, we shall delve into how to sustain this internal flame when the external world appears inimical, and how intuition becomes your unseen compass, charting a course through the most labyrinthine complexities of reality. We shall explore how your internal certitude can become a bulwark against external challenges and how you may utilize your emotions as indicators rather than impediments. Envision a captain standing upon the bridge of his vessel. He does not merely gaze upon the horizon. He perceives it with incredible lucidity, charting his course in advance, accounting for currents and winds, every knot and every league of the journey. His vessel is not a fortuitous aggregation of timber and metal, but a meticulously engineered craft, every detail of which serves its purpose. And when he issues a command, his voice resonates with unwavering certitude, for within his mind the future has already transpired. When you master this precision, you shall discover that you do not merely drift upon the currents of life, but chart your own magnificent course, akin to a captain guiding his superbly engineered vessel through the most boundless expanses of the ocean toward a horizon that you yourself have delineated.